Hello, welcome to Forest Focus. It's perhaps Nottingham Forest's biggest week since promotion at Wembley as they wait for the results of their FFP hearing and then head to Luton on Saturday for a game which could have a real bearing on their Premier League status. They'll go into it on the back of a performance at Brighton, which seen question marks raised over the desire of players and the confidence of the manager this a week after they played so well against Liverpool. So how bad is it and what went wrong against Brighton? Joining me to discuss all of that, first of all, is former Reds defender Kelvin Wilson. Afternoon, Kelvin. Good to have you with us. Are you well?
Yeah, I'm very well, thanks.
Good to have you back in your wardrobe, but it doesn't really matter where you are.
Kids are off school. Yeah. The only place I can get some quiet.
Exactly. We've all got to have our escapes sometimes. Don't worry about it. Second guest today is Michael Temple. Temps, you're looking relaxed. You're not in your work clothes. How are you doing?
Mate, I had a massive deadline today at 12 noon, and now I'm off the leash. And I've just noticed that Kelvin's closet is bigger than my London flat was. And I'm waiting to hear how Greg Mitchell is going to pick us all up off the floor. So exciting times.
You've got a big task this afternoon, Greg Mitchell. How are you doing?
All right, yeah. Recovering. Had a great Saturday night in Brighton. Decided at about 4 p.m. we'll go down the night before, and so glad we did because, it was a tough old journey. I didn't fancy doing it in a day.
You've got more resources than like an oil-rich Middle Eastern country, mate. You're in Milan in the week and then down to Brighton. Fair play to you. Fair play. Right, kick us off then, Greg. We'll get into reasons to be optimistic if you have any, but just general thoughts on the game in the ground as one of the hardy souls that went down there.
It was flat. It was really flat the first half. I mean, you could have heard a pin drop. I was watching this little bird fly around the ground and you could hear it landing on the roof. It was ridiculous. And it's the first time I think I've heard boos at half time from the away end. That weren't nice to hear, but, they've seen quite a bit of football now this season. And that first half especially was a tough watch. But we did improve second half and, people are talking like we're doomed and that's it, it's all over. It's certainly not. We were so close at points of getting something yesterday and decisions went our way and a few other things, we'd have got them. So I'm not in that camp that 99% seem to be in at the minute. I'm still quite optimistic about our chances. I still think we're better than at least 4 teams in this league and we've still going to get that rub of the green we haven't had yet, which is going to turn a season round. So, spend a couple of days licking our wounds, but it's such a massive weekend coming up. We can't go into it like this.
Just a quick few thanks for our throats temps. Thanks very much to Super Mario, Gavin Mist, and Ashley Lambell for becoming members. Ashley used to work for Forest, lovely guy, so good to have him on board. I don't know, temps. I think you told me you were going to be a bit more negative than normal yesterday. Now you've slept on it. I'm still pretty annoyed, to be honest. But I said my piece yesterday. How are you feeling?
The race isn't run. Greg's wrong. It's not all going to be okay. We've got work to do. And I think Nuno acknowledged that afterwards, didn't he? We've got a problem to solve, was the phrase that he used. So my considered hindsight view of the game is we got the team selection wrong and we can't afford to be doing that unless there's some mechanical, injury-related, incident-related reasons why our best 3 attacking players were on the bench. So I'm frustrated by the ref as much as anybody, but I'm more frustrated by the performance, the lack of goals, and the selection choices that we made that will have exacerbated that. So yeah, I'm not seeing an informed team that's going to blitz through this period of easier fixtures now. And you framed it already. How big is this Luton game? What will be the state of play after that? Which of these two sides is going to have the advantage? Because I think we're locked in a 2-horse race with them. And we have to deal with the potential points deduction as well. So demoralising game. With hindsight, I think the selection was wrong. I take the point about the ref, but we've got to do so much more to get back to the position we were in a few weeks ago, where we're at least freely scoring, because this is inevitably going to be a bit of a discussion about defensive errors again.
Yeah, we'll come on to all that, certainly. I think, Kelvin, one of the frustrations among many was we could have gone 15th if we'd won that game. And that would have been a tall order because we have to respect how good Brighton are. But I think we could have got something. But everyone seems to be so down about the approach and the team selection. Is that how you viewed it? Or could you see the logic in what Nuno was trying?
No, not at this stage of the season. I think, you've got to start your best side. Regardless of fitness, etc. If they're fit enough to be on the bench, I'm sure they're fit enough to play. So I'd rather go with the strongest squad. And if you've got to change that up at half time or in the 60th minute, you do that then. But to start with them players on the bench, it baffled me, to be fair. It really did baffle me. But I think it looks, I think Greg touched on it, it's really flat. It seems the confidence is on the floor with a lot of the players. You know, they don't seem very confident at the minute, which is expectable. You know, expectable with the results that they've been getting. But I think they've got to try and put the confidence aside and just try and grind out results. It's not about how they're playing or the style or anything like that. It's just getting the results now, which they're not doing. And it's you know, we're scoring goals at one stage, but then conceding. But now we're not conceding many, but we can't score. So it's just trying to find that balance, which is hard when you're playing in a team with very, very low confidence.
Do you think the manager's overthinking it? Because when he came in, it was quite pared down, quite simplified. Morgan Gibbs-White's going to play in the centre. We're going to be positive. And now we're seeing Ilanga playing as a striker, Origi out wide, Taiwo on the bench. We're shifting formation multiple times in the game. We're bringing on Chet Koyate for Morgan Gibbs-White with 2 minutes to go. It felt a bit muddled to me yesterday. Does Nuno need to go back to what was working when he first came in?
You know, I'm not a manager, but yeah, if you're looking at it from the outside, it looks like it's a bit of panic stations now. You know, trying all sorts just to try and figure out what's right. I think the change with Morgan Gibbs-White was just basically the only sense of that I can make is that they were going to go route one, and he's a big guy, so they was just going to go route one, which didn't happen. So that was a little bit confusing because they couldn't get the ball off Brighton. They seen the game out, but I think panic stations are going to set in with the manager. I'm sure. You know, I've not been a manager, but I'm sure it's going to be what's my best team. Not even what's my best team. What team's going to get me results? And that's all that matters at this stage now. I don't think any Forest fan cares how pretty the performances are. No one cares. You know, as long as we get the results and we stay in the division, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, that was one of the things I didn't understand. You know, if you play that way and Brighton get the lead, then they're good enough to pass the ball around you and manage the game. I just didn't understand that, but I said that yesterday. Did you, in the ground, Greg, sense, I don't know, maybe not a lack of effort, but certainly, like Kelvin says, a lack of belief, maybe a lack of drive to get back into the game? I don't know what the right phrase would be.
I know I'm again in the minority here, but I didn't see what people are saying online about this lack of drive and we had a corner, Gibbs-White's there trying to get the crowd going, and the crowd are like, we're not really responding. I don't think the players have lost belief. I don't think they're not bothered, or they're just thinking about, people are talking about, the points deduction must be weighing on them. It was 1-0 against Brighton, who are an established Premier League side. I know they didn't get out of third gear. That was pretty obvious in the first half, to be honest. And we did have the wrong team selection, but it just isn't that bad. I just think Nuno's going to learn. He's absolutely learned, just like he did with Niakate at, was it the Villa game where he played him on the left side? It doesn't work. He's now running out of games, 9 or 10 games left. We can't be experimenting like previously been said. But I think there's a lack of belief with the fans more than the players, if I'm honest. I thought the players, they're running the socks off, but if it's not right on the day and the tactics weren't right or the team wasn't right, I don't think that's on them.
Was it the manner of the defeat then, Thames? Because Bruggen, how many saves did he make? A save from Origi and a really good save from Chris Wood, who I thought made way more of that chance than a lot of players would. Was it just the way we lost the game, even if we did lose 1-0?
It doesn't help us to say that Brighton beat us without playing particularly well, which is true, but that's not a positive reflection on us. That's them able to find 3 points in the Premier League despite being in fourth gear. Ref being a bit tetchy, giving away too many yellows and not enough reds throughout the game, and us not taking our chances. A lot was made of that Origi chance first half. That was a bit of a half chance for me, given he hasn't scored in the Premier League since something like April 2022. So yeah, there were issues for me. There was a lack of impact from the bench. Sangare did still look languid and didn't do enough with it. We made that what I'm presuming was an enforced substitution to bring on Koyate for a more attacking player. So my frustration was that we didn't give ourselves an opportunity to go into the game positively and jump on a team that had just been spanked midweek in Europe. I think that they did look in their shells a bit. And if they were having to defend against the pace of Elanga and the craft of Hudson-Odoi for 90 minutes, it might have been a different outcome. So I think that's the thing that I want to talk about most is that was an opportunity to grab a game by the scruff of the neck, to get on the front foot and to release our informed players, give them some attacking freedom to go and get a goal, to go and press, to go and stretch Brighton, who are perhaps a little bit bereft of confidence. As it happens, they've come through the game with 3 points. We've had nothing, and we're sat bemoaning a ref again. Let's take control of the things that we can control, pick a team that can get out there on the front foot, particularly when we've got Luton to come, who we're going to have to attack. We're going to have to try and beat, particularly because we've got a run of games against the likes of Palace, Fulham, Wolves, who there's no reason why we can't overcome. Why have we experimented with a more defensive setup and selection against a team that were themselves lacking of confidence and therefore taking? I think it's a missed opportunity. It's put more pressure on the games that are to come, and the focus has to be on Luton. It's a huge, huge game.
Yeah, I agree. I know Greg's trying, but I'm actually getting more annoyed the more we talk.
Do you know
about
what? There was one comment saying I'm just trying to convince myself, and I am. And there's nothing wrong with that, because if we go into Luton saying, "Oh, we're rubbish, we're going to lose, nobody cares, he's going to pick the wrong team," what's the point? You know, it's took us that long to get here. What's the point in just going down there and saying, "Oh, we're going to lose"? You know, Luton, they're going to be so up for this. This is their game where they see 3 points. Absolutely. They're in a weird position where they're going to go into the game possibly as favourites as well. And we know that what happens when we're at home against teams like that, it don't always work out. So we should be going there saying, this is a massive opportunity. We can turn that around straight away. So, yeah, I am trying to convince myself. And if a few others do it as well, then maybe we might get somewhere.
Greg, I hope I'm not saying we're going to lose. But what I'm saying from a fan's perspective, who doesn't see training in the week, who doesn't know what Nuno's thinking is, here's the things that I think helps our team to win. And it's starting our best players, and it's being more attacking. It's taking a little bit of risk maybe against the lesser teams, respectfully, that with our balance in central midfield. That's what I want to see. That's why I'm frustrated. I don't think there's any lack of effort for anyone that's picked. I just think there's a little bit more within our control that we can do to make our team a bit more free scoring.
I think that we're not in a position where we can rest our best players or leave our best players on the bench and then bring them on to make an impact. We're not a club that can do that at this moment in time. You know, we're fighting for survival. You know, this game on Saturday is basically a playoff. It's like a playoff final. That's the be all and end all of it. I don't necessarily think whoever wins the game is going to stay up. I still think there's enough games for it to turn around, to swing the other way. But initially, my thought is this game is like a playoff final. So, you know, I think Nuno will go down there and play his strongest side to get that result. Saturday, I don't think he did that. I don't know. You know, I'm sure he's got his reasons. I'm sure he'll come out and say his reasons why he went that selection. But like Sam said, it just baffles me. I don't think any player goes out there and just, you know, they're just thinking, right, just go through the motions and just get through to the final whistle. You know, even though we keep losing 1-0, it's not like, oh, it was only 1-0 and this and that. If we lose the next 8 games 1-0, it may as well be 5-0. It doesn't matter. We're losing them. So it's, you know, go out and have a go. Go out and have a go and try and get the result. And to be fair, with the selection that he chose, when it came out, I didn't think they would lose the game. I thought they'd still get something from it, a result, a draw. If at worst, a draw, yeah. I didn't think they would lose the game because of Brighton's recent, well, especially in midweek. I've been in teams where we've been hammered. It's a knock-on effect. It does affect you as a player because you're thinking, right, we can't lose this game now. And the way they celebrated when they won the game, it proved that it was just delighted to get the result.
Was it more the setup in the first half with, like, if you're going to play Chris Wood up front, and I thought he had a decent game, but doesn't he not need some pace around him to supply him and help him out?
1,000,000%, yeah. And I think away from home at Brighton, with him starting up front, I thought we were just going to go a little bit more direct and maybe get him to hold it up and play off him, which we went direct at times, but none of the balls hit Chris Wood. They were all down the sides where you want your quick players, your Langer and Hudson-Odoi, but they're not on the pitch. So it's like, what we playing them balls for? Which was, it just surprised me. Nothing was aimed toward Chris Wood's chest or his feet for him to hold up and bring people into play. It was all just kind of panicked. It was all panicked and let's just get it upfield and see if we can get up a yard or two. And even then, when we didn't really move. We just played so deep, inviting pressure on. It was just baffling at the time.
Good to have over 400 people with us already. Really appreciate your company. Quick word to thank our sponsors of the show. Really appreciate them, of course. And it's the Trent Navigation. I'm filling because I'm trying to find the overlay. There it is. Right. It's Cheltenham Festival Week. So watch live at the Trent Navigation and the Big Shed. They'll be showing all the action from the pinnacle event of the jump racing calendar inside the Trent Nav and outside on the big screen in the Big Shed. So don't miss the Gold Cup. It's on Friday at 3:30. Entries free, and of course, you can find the Nav on Meadow Lane. Perhaps it comes to something that we're just plugging other sports now, not talking about Forest at the moment. Right, let's talk about the goal and get some analysis on Forest set piece defending. What was your take on the goal itself, Kelvin, and then the way we set up for set pieces we'll come to after, but the goal itself first?
I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but every time it's a set piece, because maybe I played in that position and I get nervous now with the amount of stuff we've conceded. I'm just like, oh no. I'm talking to myself, watching it on the TV, like, oh no, here we go. And it's like when you clear the ball, it's like a relief. It's like, thank God for that. But I think you can see the nerves in the players when it's a set piece. You can see that they're taking it on board and they know how important it is not to concede because we've conceded that many goals. But it's just panic stations. I think if the goalkeeper gives a clearer shout, he doesn't go to edit. Does he go and try and edit? We was always told, if you can't edit clear, don't try and edit for a flick on, especially if you're defending it. Just leave it. And I know that can sound a bit dodgy at times, but I think it proved that, yeah, if you're not going to win it clearly in your own box, you never want to try and overstretch where you're flicking it and it could go into your own net. So, but I think if the goalkeeper gives a louder shout and more commanding, and more demanding of his penalty box, his 6-yard box, especially, it just didn't seem that way. And it was just a messy goal, a messy goal. And it just kind of sums up the way we are at set piece at the minute.
Could you sense it coming in the ground, Greg? And equally, when we got a set piece, did you ever sense we were going to do anything with them on Sunday?
Yeah, you did sense it coming. It wasn't a free kick to start, but we're not going to get into giving them excuses, are we? So, yeah, that was very frustrating. Thought the ref was really poor again. But, yeah, you could see it coming. You could see it building up. And then onto our set pieces, it's almost become a bit of a laugh in the crowd now. We get one and you hear about this set piece coach, keeper and that going around the ground. And we even tried it with Murillo, didn't we, this weekend, letting him have a go at goal. But why not? The only positive thing I will say about our attacking set pieces is we seem to be getting them now. I think we had 2, didn't we, on Sunday that were in dangerous positions that we really, if we'd done better, could have made trouble with. So, just keep getting them. And talking of set pieces, there was a comment a few minutes ago, I don't know whether it's true, saying Luton put more balls into the box and crosses and stuff like that than anyone.
Yeah, that's true,
that's a huge worry for Saturday, isn't it? But yeah, we've got to do better, but we are at least getting some opportunities in dangerous areas now, but they come to nothing, and it'd be such a surprise if one of them does go in.
Yeah, and Luton's tactic is get the ball to Doughty and cross it for Morris, as far as I can see. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think they've done, really well this season out of it with the resources they have. It's interesting, the award of the free kick attempts. Initially, on first viewing, it looked like a free kick, and it probably wasn't actually. But we did, either side of that, I felt we gave quite a few soppy free kicks away early on in the game. We invited a bit of pressure, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. There were some soft free kicks. I think Nico's protestation was interesting, wasn't it? Because he seemed to be in the thick of a bit of a physical battle there, which isn't necessarily his game. But we have to be mindful of that. How do you prevent the risk of conceding from a set piece? Don't give the set piece away. I think Kelvin would be rating the wide boys if he was being peppered because they were giving away needless fouls when a player could be jockeyed or turned around. So big frustration. The goal itself, I'm putting on the keeper, unfortunately. I hope we wouldn't have to have that discussion at any point, having spun the wheel again to get Matt Sells in. But strange technique for me. It wasn't particularly high. He wasn't particularly stretching for it. I don't know if he can be a little bit more commanding and catch it. Once you've decided to make the punch, it's unforgivable to do it straight into the jump of your front post defender. So there was an issue there for sure. He made a decent save in the first half, and I have got more confidence in him than the players that preceded him. But if we're analysing that goal and where the fault lies, it's a technical deficiency from the goalie.
Yeah, and that was the 18th set-piece goal we conceded in 28 games in the league, which is mad. I mean, Burnley are 4 behind us, and it's actually hard to believe. So poor old Kelvin Wilson becomes our set-piece correspondent. He does more on set-pieces than Forest coaches do, I think, on this podcast. He's got to analyse it again. It was interesting on Match of the Day last night, Kelvin, Shay Given saying he thinks we need to be 5 yards, even 10 yards higher to give the keeper space to come and prevent the kind of headers that Temps referenced, where he did make a good save. What's your take on that from a centre-half's point of view?
Yeah, I agree. The higher you start, the better chance you give your goalkeeper. But the goalkeepers I've played, who's played behind me, will push you out anyway. Very vocal and keeping you up. But I think with that stat you've just said, how many goals we've conceded from set pieces, I cannot believe that they're not doing set pieces after training every single day. Putting on his session, Nuno, then finishing with 10 minutes of defending set pieces, because that stat is crazy, absolutely crazy. And it's still happening. It's not like we're towards the end of the season now and they've stopped and we're just looking back on the stats. It's still happening. And we're coming into a period where we're playing Luton. They know what they're good at. That's one thing I'll give Luton. They've not tried to complicate it. They know what they're good at. And they're going to pepper the box. They're going to watch the videos of Forest. You do that. You analyse the team. Forest going to watch Luton as well. But Luton will watch and they will see that just cross the ball. And that's their game as well. So, it is worrying. It is worrying for the weekend. But I don't see a better team to play against at this moment to go and get a result and get some confidence than Luton. And, if we defend right, I think the attacking players, as long as they're fit and they play, I think they'll win us the game. But we've got to defend right, because the ball will be in that box and it will be crossed over and over and over again. And the players have just got to put the tin hats on and go and head that ball.
What did you make of our attacking set pieces?
I think they're just basically put into an area. Obviously, we've got a set piece coach. I don't know what's said and what they do on the training ground, but me as a fan looking on, it's basically just players aren't going up there to look like they're going to score. It's just basically to put it into an area and we hope for the best. There's not nothing where you go, oh, I can see the block there, I can see him spin round the back, and there's nothing that's really caught my eye. We've not took no short corners or anything like that, so I'm not quite sure what our plans are from set pieces. I don't know who's the target man. You'd think Chris Wood, but then he's going to be marked by Dunk. That's always going to be the case. Whatever team we play, they're going to put the biggest player on Chris Wood, so you'd hope he'll be a bit of a detour. But I don't see us scoring from set pieces. I don't feel like this is our chance to get a goal. I think a lot of players just plod forward just to make the numbers up in the 18-yard box.
Yeah, it's like you watch Arsenal, and Ben White's like a bouncer at 2 a.m, just dragging people out of the way, left, right, and centre. He's practically in the goal for Gabriel to get on it, and I don't see anything like that from us. And Brentford struggling, but they're really good at set pieces. I just don't see what we're doing personally. Right, people in the comments said we shouldn't talk about VAR, but I think we should, and we really have to. So last night on WhatsApp, Greg, you felt it was a big turning point in the game. And I didn't agree particularly at the time, but I can see it now, because you have 25, 30 minutes against 10 men. So first of all, it definitely should have been a red in your opinion, I take it, Greg.
It's not even a conversation. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a dangerous, reckless tackle. If they can't see that that's something where the referee has again made a serious misjudgment on it, then what's the point in VAR? Change VAR, scrap it. It doesn't work. Waste of time. And of course, this is the thing, people having a go at me saying, it's not going to change the game. We were coming into the game at that point. The crowd were up. We were attacking a bit more. We were getting chances. It was an attacking play where we're getting that again. Red card changes the game, absolutely. It would have changed our fortunes. I think we'd have scored. We'd have come away with a draw, I think, at least. It's another one to add to the list of probably 10, 11 decisions now that have been utterly disgraceful. Utter disgrace. It's ridiculous. And we can use it as an excuse because we should be shouting it from the rooftops. It's ridiculous how costly this has been for us now. Not just that one, because we'll never know, but some others. I know it wasn't VAR against Liverpool, but that's cost us a point. That's a huge point lost. The mistakes that are out of our control have just been unbelievable, and they continue to happen. And no matter what we do, we can employ referees, we could do what we want. They ain't changing, and it always seems to be on us. So yeah, it's becoming pathetic now. And I've got my Leicester mate at work saying, it's great in the Championship, decision happens, you live with it. I'm not into that conversation yet at all, but I'd love the thing never to have been developed, or at least never have to been here until it's absolutely ready, because it's an absolute joke.
Yeah, it's not great in Championship. I watched QPR v someone and the bloke handballed it over the bar, West Brom, and nothing was given. So it's just as crap wherever you go. I suppose, Temps, is the thing people would say is, well, we've played 10 men 5 or 6 times this season and done naff all against them. I suppose that's the mood that came around the incident from a Forest point of view as well, wasn't it?
Look, list of issues affecting this Forest team at this moment in time. Refereeing decisions, yes. VAR, yes. But also selection, tactics, lack of goals, conceding too many for set pieces. That's a massive inbox to deal with. And there's absolutely nothing we can do about the refs and the VAR. I've spoken about Clattenburg before, not going there. So let's just get hold of those things. Let's pick the right team. Let's attack. Nuno will be forgiven for picking a team that we can all see is going to give us the chance to score, the chance to get 3 points on the road if it doesn't work because of events in the game. That's football. Even the best teams will never win 80, 90% of the time. Sorry, more than 80, 90% of the time, because anything can happen in a game. Man City in complete control yesterday. Edison comes out, whacks Nunez, changes the course of the game completely. That can happen. But you've got to give yourself the chance, particularly the situation that we're in now, particularly with this run of games, which is relatively favourable. So I'm not going to go on another rant about the refs and VAR. Everything that Greg said is valid, but we've got too long a list of things that we have to solve to allow that to dominate our media appearances, our employment of consultants, and everything else. Let's fix the things we can control.
Yeah, Morgan Gibbs-White's getting some stick, Kelvin, for coming out and talking about it. I don't really mind that, because I want the players to believe that if they have a red card against them, they're going to get something from the match. So can you kind of see where Morgan's coming from, and what was your take in general on what happened around that incident?
No, yeah, I totally agree. It's a red card, it is, and VAR is a joke. It's I don't even get started on it. I'm glad I don't play why this is how, it would frustrate me. I think, we can look back and, we've had decisions that ain't gone for us. Totally, 100% agree with that. But I think there's more things that are in our power that we can change and stop, that we should be concentrating on. Especially, like, this won't get mentioned in Nuno's video analysis with the players today. It won't get mentioned. It will be what they're in control of and what they could have done to, not what the ref should have done. It'll be what the players should have done, or what Nuno could have done as well. I'm sure he not just put the blame on the players. But it has been a joke. We've not had no rub of the green. It's been embarrassing, to be fair, at times. And I totally agree with Greg. It was a red card, without a doubt.
One of the things as well, Greg, like, I didn't watch all the games this weekend, but I watch a lot of football. I said this yesterday. I can't think of refs being sent to the screen anymore, which to me, it renders VAR entirely pointless, because every commentary you watch, like, there's a VAR check. So, check cleared. Someone, ironically, it was a Liverpool thing, but Doku kicks McAllister in the chest, and I thought that was a penalty. But the benchmark to get a penalty now is like DBH, although Liverpool should have scored from the corner afterwards, obviously, because they had time. But what's your take on just why does VAR exist? It just feels like redundant now.
It's just that was the reason they send them to the screen is so they can pretend that the referee makes the decision, don't they? But really, they're telling him you've made a huge error. Go and pretend you're looking at it and change your decision so it's you who's doing it. I don't see why they're so bothered about protecting them when they think they've made an error or they're their mate, so they stick up for them and say, "Oh no, you were right," when it's clearly that wrong. Going to the screen, 95% of the time, if they go there, then it's going to get reversed. So, yeah, they didn't send him there, and it would have cost, 2 more minutes of the game, and that would have been it. So, again, they're just getting everything wrong to do with it, absolutely everything. And if you're talking about the Liverpool game, what a terrible goal to concede from a set piece. If that was us, we'd have been absolutely crucified. But there you go.
Very true. Very true. A couple of players I wanted to talk about before we turn the page to Luton, because Greg looks like he's either got the last vestiges of a hangover or he's just absolutely miserable. So we're going to give him time to cheer up and bring the rest of us with him. But just a couple of players I wanted to discuss. It was interesting last week, Kelvin. We had Lewis on talking about Taiwo, and we've got to be patient with him. He looks like so far off it. Is that a big concern for you now, or do you still agree with Lewis? Like, be patient, he'll come good for us.
Of course, with what Lewis is saying, but we've got time to be patient. Well, there's no time. Time's running out. Yes, he's going to be with us for a number of years, I'm sure, because he's got a contract. But we need him now to hit the ground running, kind of thing. I know he's been injured. Listen, I've had injuries. I had a lot of injuries when I played, and it is hard to get in the swing of it. But he's got, the pressure's on. We need players to perform. Of course, ideally would love to be mid-table and he can keep coming on for the last 20 minutes to get his fitness up. But we're not in that luxury to be able to do that. And we only have Chris Wood really, other than him. So it's a tough one. I understand what Lewis is saying, and as an ex-player and as a player, I totally agree with him. But unfortunately, we're not in that luxury to be able to do that. To where we've got to give him time. We need results. We need goals, and he's the main man really up top that's going to get them. I know Chris Wood's he's had a great season for us, but is he going to be the one that's going to score goals every week to keep us in this league? I think we need to share it around the players. I don't think one player is just going to do that up top for us. I think we've got to share it between Morgan Gibbs-White and the 2 wide players and the 2 forwards. But unfortunately, they're not playing every game because Nuno's obviously his team selection at the weekend. And Chris Wood started. Yeah, I rate Chris Wood. He's been brilliant for Forest. He had a tough start, but he turned it around by scoring a few goals this season. But I feel that we need more goal scorers. You can't just rely on 1 or 2 players. It's not going to happen.
As FPL Shorts says, do us a favour, hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. That would be very much appreciated. And thanks very much to Francis Land for becoming a new member. I appreciate the support, Francis. I referenced Taiwo temps just around the subs in general. I think it was you who said earlier there was kind of a lack of impact off the bench. Sangare was another interesting one who came on and didn't massively at it. Are you giving him some leeway because he's coming back from injury, or again, is it like, now it's time to go and now it's time to deliver?
No, I'm not referring to his fitness. I'm referring to the lack of adventure or impact or difference on the ball. You've got to be brave centre mid. You've got to be brave out wide. But you've got to be progressive. And I just think too often he turns and passes that 20-yard ball to the right back. There were a couple of times where he made really basic errors and then became, yes, a willing runner, but just compromised his positioning completely by chasing the ball into other players' zones to try and counter his mistake. But he doesn't look like the 40 million pound player we've signed to be the show caller in centre mid. I think he can be. I think he's got the technical attributes and the experience to do that, but I'm just not seeing it with my own eyes. So I want him to be an effective starter and to justify that selection by being consistently amongst the best players on the pitch. And I'm just not seeing that. And I don't know how many opportunities you can provide for a player when you've got 10 games left and you're trying to survive in the Premier League. So interested to see how that one's treated against a lad in Ryan Yates who has some unbelievable attributes, some elements where he's found lacking, but never any lack of desire, effort, work rate, and he's therefore getting selected ahead of Sangare, which would not have been the plan. Sangare was signed to be an upgrade on Ryan Yates and to make that an easy selection centre mid, and it hasn't proved to be the case. So I'm concerned about Sangare because he has the potential to be a leading light in this team, and it's just not happening for him. I'm willing him on. I really want to see him become that, but where's the evidence at this point?
Dems, do you think a lot of our centre midfield players are pretty similar at this stage? Apart from Gibbs White, who's not said he's a number 10, but if you look at the midfield players, who's going to break the lines with that pass? I take Gibbs White out. I can't see anyone in that midfield that's going to do that. You know, they'll win the ball back. They're ratters, which is great, but you don't need 3 or 4 of them in the starting lineup. You need maybe 1, you know, and then maybe 2 ball players around him. But I don't see what midfielders, and that's not, you know, having a go at the midfielders because they're good at what they do. But you need someone that's going to break the lines with that pass, that's going to, you know, that can find that pass. And I don't think we've got one apart from Gibbs White. I don't see anyone else that's going to do it. So, like when he went off at the weekend, it's like, obviously we're going to go route 1 because we've got no one else who's going to break the lines with that pass or is going to see that pass.
I think Danilo's got it in him, Kelv, but both to beat a man and to maybe, you know, clip a diag in behind the fullback for the likes of Alanga, to find Gibb White in the 10 spot in the final third. He's not quite in that form at the minute, but you definitely put Yatesy, Sangare, Dominguez, even Mangala when he was there in that bracket of brief look forward, nothing on, turn around, pass it to the fullback.
Yeah, I think Danilo's closest to it, but like the first half, he really struggled. Then I thought he was playing quite well second half, and they took him off. He was the only one playing progressive passes, but he was giving the ball away quite a lot. But at least he was trying. So I'll give him that.
Yeah, Mate, you'd rather that, wouldn't you? You'd rather him give the ball away a little bit if he's trying to pass it forward. You know, I think most players can have 100% pass completion if they pass it to the left or to the right or backwards. That's why midfielders, you know, for me, I always rate a midfielder as probably your best players on the pitch because they've got to take the ball under pressure. They've got to see that pass. They've got to keep the ball. So, you know, if you're going to pass it backwards, I think I could have played a midfield when I was a player by passing it backwards and to the side. Now, if you ask me to play it forward, then I'd struggle. So that's the hardest thing to do as a midfielder, I think. And I think, you know, if we can get players to start doing that, and it'll come with confidence as well. If you've not got confidence, you do look for that simple pass just to keep it ticking. And obviously, if it was winning games, I'm sure you'd see a lot more players trying different things. But at this moment in time, apart from Gibbs White, I think regardless of how he's playing, he will always try and pass the ball forward, Gibbs White, always.
Yeah, I felt that lack of confidence in Brighton as well in the first 20 minutes or so. They weren't the team of last season, but again, I just thought we gave them the platform to grow into the game. Right, 38 minutes in. This is where you talk us back into the room, Greg Mitchell. We'll turn our attention to Luton. Convince, or, you know, why you're feeling upbeat. As Greg Oram says, this is a good point. There's 10 games left, which is a quarter of a season. So there's still time. So you're fully on board with your fellow Greg Mitchell that we can still do this then?
I just think we've got to have belief, or like I said earlier, what's the point? They're the perfect team to play in the fact that they're right down. It's a dogfight with them. We may well find out on Friday. Will we find out publicly about the points?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know.
So if we know, we could be 3 points behind them. You know, then suddenly, wow, gosh, if they beat us, that's massive. So I really do think they're going to have a belief, almost to their detriment, that we see. It's a nice tight pitch. It's a small ground. It's that kind of environment that we could thrive in, and we're just going to have to go for them. And I think as the week progresses, as this becomes more of a distant memory, people will start remembering that we can go down there and we can get results against teams like that, and we have done previously. So yeah, we will play our strongest side. We will really go for them, and God, do we need the point? So yeah, I can't wait for it. I can't wait to get further away from Sunday as possible, and then just get down there and see what happens.
Yeah, I should say Luton play Bournemouth on Wednesday. I think people know that, but they could draw level on points with us, which would take them above us on goal difference.
Did you see there was a comment about their away games as well compared to our away games left? And I know it doesn't make any difference, but I'd much prefer ours.
Yeah, their running is quite a mixed bag. I'll have a look at it, certainly. Temps, I watched entirely legally. I watched Luton versus Palace. They gave up a lot of chances, and I checked the XG, Greg's favourite stat, and it was like 3.89 versus 0.3 or something. Luton have, I mean, I respect what they do, but they give a lot of opportunities up. So have we got to go there and just be positive and get at them?
Let me channel my inner Greg. We'll beat Luton if we pick the team that I want us to pick, and that means getting both wingers on there from the start, getting the right balance in behind Morgan Gibbs-White, and I'll say starting Taiwo, because I'm with Lewis. He's not a player that needs 5-6 games to play himself back into form. He'll have that moment, like he did against Arsenal, like he did against West Ham, where the quality will tell inside the box. So I'm not intimidated by Luton as an opposition, particularly. They haven't been impressive over the last 5 or 6 weeks. They had that brief flirtation with going on a bit of a run, didn't they, before that? But they're probably playing to form at the minute. They've got a game on Wednesday. We're licking our wounds after what's gone wrong. And if it goes how I expect it to go, there's going to be several changes to the team that starts that game at Kenilworth Road. So there's every chance, every reason to believe we're going to do it. And the signal I want from Nuno is pick the team that we know is going to have the attacking flair to create chances.
Just looking at Luton's fixtures, then Greg's right. It's a real Jekyll and Hyde. I'd actually rather the fixtures go the other way around. So they've got to go to Tottenham and Arsenal. They've got to go to Man City, and they've got to go to West Ham and Wolves. But equally at home, they've got Bournemouth. Well, they've obviously got us. Then Bournemouth, Brentford, Everton, and Fulham. And I would really like those fixtures if I were a Bournemouth fan. So I don't think it's going to decide too much. Do you want to come in there, Greg? You've unmuted yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it goes back to that one where I think we've only beat one team in the bottom 10, haven't we? So I think I'd rather have a tougher opposition at home, I think. But there you go. We just don't know, do we? I see Steve's in the comments again. He's been on this all year saying that we're going to get relegated at Bramall Lane. So if there's one thing I need him to never be too correct on things.
What an absolute beacon of optimism getting
it's unbelievable.
What's your initial thoughts on this game, Kelvin?
I think if we deal with the crowd, it's gonna start quick. I think it'll start. The game will be electric. I think the atmosphere will as well. Like I say, I think everyone's building up to be like a playoff final. Even though it's not going to be a be all and end all of the season. I think if we deal with the crowd, I think we'll win the game. I don't want to be disrespectful to Luton at all. They're in the Premier League and they're having a right good go. But in due respect, we're playing Luton. It's the Premier League. Every team in the Premier League are there for a reason because they're good sides. But we've beat better sides than Luton, and we're a really good side. Not in form, but we're a good side with good players. So there's got to be a time where the penny's got to drop with the players, and I think whoever wins this game will grow in massive confidence. I think it will give them a massive boost, whichever team wins this game. So it'll be a knock-on effect for the rest of the season, not just this game. I think whoever comes out as winners will then kick on. I think because it will give them a massive boost to realise that they can stay up.
So one of the things I wrote in the notes, Temps, was I started writing mentality versus quality, assuming that Luton have got the mentality and we've got the quality. And I don't know if I'm completely right on either count. Firstly, are we actually that good? And secondly, do you see the fight in this? Because we show fight against a lot of teams, but they tend to be the bigger teams, I think.
Are we that good? I'd advocate for making a change at centre half for this game. I think that the defensive solidity comes from selection and getting that right. And there's an element of luck and judgment to that because the centre halves have got such different attributes. I think going forward, we can be that good. We have got probably the fastest winger, one of the fastest wingers in the league. Hudson-Odoi's in great form. He looked in full flight to me when he got clipped on the edge of the box and checked inside. Two completely different profiles of wingers, but both equally effective. Taiwo has that quality inside of the box. He can one-touch finish. He can hold off his man. Gibbs-White, despite not scoring as many goals as we'd like him to, is particularly creative and does make key passes. So I think the potential for the front four is more than enough to stay in this league, and the selection across the back four will determine the outcome of games. So we're good enough to be 10 points clear of Luton over a season, FFP deductions aside. So yeah, we're not going to address it for recruitment now, are we? It's from performance and selection. So I think we are more than good enough to do this. What was the second part of your question? Sorry.
Around mentality. Luton has supposedly got this great mentality. Have we not got that from what you've seen?
Well,
or actually, have we got something?
We saw it in the Man U game, right? So we beat Man United. We all saw that clip of Gibbs White giving that motivational chat about the Oppo not being up for it. Look in their eyes, they're dying. And that at that point in time, we'd harnessed something, having beaten Newcastle as well, that felt like we had a belief, reinvigoration, new energy, fresh ideas from a gaffer. And it has dissipated in the last few weeks, but it's back the second you win a game, because that fulfills your planning, that everything that's been talked about in the week, the selection, the tactics, your own personal form. As a sportsman, you need that confirming to you from results. Kelvin will probably remember plenty of times where he felt he'd played okay, but lost, and it's an empty feeling. You want to be part of a win. The dressing room's up, confidence grows, and you go into this run of games continuing to attack, continuing not to feel the need to pick 5 relatively defensive midfield players, wide players. So there's a lot riding on this game. I'm not blind to that, but I've got the belief that we can go there and win. Bolly's the change I would make. I think, given what we've said about them crossing from deep, Doughty pumping it into the box, having physical players up top and packing the box, they are adept at that. There are players on the end of it for first and second balls. I'd advocate for bringing him in for Omar Bamadeli, because I think he's our best rearguard defender, attacks the ball better with his feet than I give him credit for, but he's an old school defender and they're going to come with an old school game plan.
Yeah, I'll bring you back in 1 second, Greg, but should get Kelvin's take on centre halves. We've chopped and changed a lot, but I can certainly see the logic in what Temps is saying. What would you feel about making another change at centre half, Kelvin?
Yeah, I'd bring Bolly back. I totally agree with Temps. I'm really shocked on how many times we've changed the 2 centre half, but the back four as well. I've never known it. It's literally every other week. It's different pairings and partnerships, and that's one position where you want the 2 centre halves to really have a bond together and know each other's game. I know there's been injuries and stuff like that happens in football, but I think for the Luton game, Bolly has to come back in, because it's good. It's not going to be really a football game where you're going to need him to play out a lot, which he is better than a lot of people think he is with his feet. But I think he will go and head the ball. And I think they're going to absolutely shell the box with crosses. I honestly do, because they will be doing the videos and analysts, and I'm watching them and knowing that how many goals Forest have conceded from set pieces, they will, be loading that box with the ball in the air, which Bolly will go and head. He will.
I suppose the big thing as well, Greg, is like, if we win the game, we're all back in your camp, because we'll have gone there and we'll have stood up and fronted up and shown we've got bottles, all like Tim Flowers, and we can deliver against the team around us. So it does feel like such a massive game. I know people say don't focus too much, but it could be so pivotal if we do win, couldn't it?
Yeah, and again, if the worst happens as well, it could be absolutely pivotal. I've got friends who are saying don't make the game too big a thing, but that's not going to change anything for the players. The players aren't going to feel pressure because we're saying it's a must win. They want to win every game. Just hopefully we can just give them that bit of fire that's been missing this season from an away end or from any end, really. So, it's just huge. And I'd actually forgot they were playing on Wednesday, which adds a whole nother load of overthinking to it. If they win, are they going to be up for it? If they lose, are they going to be piling for more? So, that's just adds that other element to it. And it's huge. And I'm delighted it's not on TV and, can get down there on a Saturday afternoon and really enjoy it. But, just that win changes everything. And I'm making a list of you all who think we can't do it.
It is a big game on Wednesday. Bournemouth have really lost their form, but then I see they actually should have beaten Sheffield United. They created a ton of chances. Obviously, Solanke missed a penalty. So you would back Bournemouth at home. I would think, all being even, they would hopefully win the game. Right, I think that just about covers everything. I'll just give a word of thanks to our second sponsor, as we do on Monday for this episode. Brewbacker, owned by Forest season ticket holder Danny Baker, big supporter of the podcast. Thank you much, Danny. The link is in the description for what they do. But if you have any health and safety issues around your business, do give them a shout. So yes, Danny, thank you very much. I'm sure you're as depressed as the rest of us, but it is a new week. And on to Luton, as we say. Right, any other business, Greg Mitchell?
No. And at time of it, Brighton on a Saturday night's a fantastic place, by the way. What a place to have a night out. It was very sensible, but had a great night. Kept seeing familiar faces in all the pubs we were going to. So, yeah, cracking place. Next season when we're playing them, get down there if you can.
How sensible were you? You were posting pictures of a pretty rank-looking breakfast to get rid of the hangover.
That was the American diner next to a hotel. I'd been for a swim, though, in the morning. I thought that might help Yatesy score, but it clearly didn't.
Not in the sea.
Well, no, I'll leave that bit out. There was a pool at the hotel, but...
We've got a professional footballer here, and you're living the life of the pro. Never mind Kelvin.
It's all this podcast money you're getting me, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other business, Kelvin Wilson? Anything you want to add before we go?
No, I'll be obviously looking out for a result and fingers crossed. I think, like I say, if we weather the storm for the first 15 minutes and quieten their fans, I think we'll go and win the game.
Hopefully so. Yeah, we'll get on board by the end of the week. We'll all be Greg Mitchell again, I'm sure. Temps, anything from you before we go?
Imagine how boring sensible Greg Mitchell is. I want the guy that I see most Saturday nights taking Jaeger bombs through his sock. That's the Greg we all want to know and see. So sensible Greg can do one. Let's get the real fella back.
If we win on Saturday,
deal. Like many commenters, extremely jealous of Kelvin's garms, all neatly stacked up in the back. He's clearly got an incredible collection of trainers as well. So I'll speak to him about that at some point. And then my shameless plug is for a drone show that I'm promoting at Trent Bridge on Friday, the 19th of April. We've just gone past 4,000 tickets and we've opened another stand. So if you want to see an electronic dinosaur lighting up the Trent Bridge sky, then get onto trentbridge.co.uk/drone and I'll see you there for a beer. And Greg Mitchell will be down in Jägermeisters for his sock.
Fine. I don't have anything. That is a good collection of shoes, though, Kelvin. Are you a proper enthusiast?
I was once upon a time. Yeah, I look after things as well. I'm very very neat and tidy, and I look after my things. Very appreciative. So yeah.
Kel, have you seen the Beckham documentary where he goes into his closet and he walks in? He's like, "Someone's been in here." And there's a sleeve is slightly out of place or they're out of order. Your setup in there looks as neat as Beckham's.
I've watched it, and when I watched it, I was just laughing to myself, like, "Oh my god, that's me." I know kids have been in. I know what's been moved. I know. So yeah, I'm a bit OCD like that. Yeah. Everything's right in like color coordinating and things like that. So yeah, I'm a bit odd like that.
Looking dapper on nights out, though, mate.
That anymore, mate. So yeah, when I do.
People will be shocked to know I'm not like that. I've seen comments today and in the comments from yesterday saying change my hoodie. I don't wear one hoodie. I'm just a creature of comfort in my house. That's all.
I just want you to paint that little bit of where you've had something hanging up. It looks like, and you've never.
Yeah, I see it.
The white. I see it every week. I think just put another photo there.
Oh God! If my wife hears that, she'll be mortified. She said to me all weekend, "We've got to put something on. Pick some pictures you want. We'll hang them up. You've got to have a better display behind you. That white stuff really annoys me." She said the things behind. So, yeah, you've not done me any favors there, Greg. But yeah,
I should say actually thanks to my mate Dave because our Wi-Fi got cut off this morning. We've got to change your Wi-Fi happening, so I've had to run round to his and use his very good Wi-Fi here. So he'll be watching. So thank you.
Yeah, well done, Dave. You've got better Wi-Fi than any of us. Right, we shall leave it there. We'll be back tomorrow at some point, I'm sure, and then on Wednesday, and then we'll have a proper preview on Thursday for the Brighton game. But yeah, thanks for all your company. 500 plus people with us, which is great. If you haven't already, do us a favor, hit like, hit subscribe. It genuinely makes a real difference. Give us a good review on iTunes, etc., etc. The more likes on this video, the better, as it helps spread the net with YouTube's evil algorithm. Right, Greg Mitchell, thank you very much.
Cheers. See you at the next one.
Are you all right? You look so miserable for a lot of that. I could see you.
Yeah, it's just, it'll
glum.
be all right. Just a little bit of confidence helps sometimes. And it doesn't seem like there's many of us left, which is a concern.
Yeah, but when we stay up, you'll be the most vindicated person amongst us, won't you?
Well, yeah, it's a lot. It feels a lot closer this year. Strangely, it's last year I always had that belief, and there's quite a few of us that did, but we seem to be a bit more of a minority this season.
No, I still believe. I just get annoyed when we just don't do ourselves any favors. So yeah, that was the problem yesterday. Temps, thank you very much.
See you soon, fellas.
Kelvin, great to have you with us again. Thanks for your company.
Pleasure as always, guys.
You're a good man. Right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day, and we shall see you soon.